Hello, my friend.
Happy Thursday.
Hello.
Hello. How are
It-
you?
Where's your boob?
My boob?
Yeah, not that boob. Your other boob. You sound a little further away today. There you go. Talking to your boobs.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. How was your day?
A little cray cray,
Yeah.
but all good. Yeah.
What was crazy about it?
Well, thinking about our big presentation tomorrow. It's very exciting. We're going to speak to the financial world. So I was
Right.
very excited about that. And I thought
Mhm.
that I was thinking a lot about that and how amazing that is that we get to touch all different people, touch all different people.
I'll leave the
And
touching to you.
yep, yep, yep. But we get to reach so many people in so many different ways. And, it just goes back to our empowering people that they have the power within. And it's just so exciting. I get lit up over that stuff. You know? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Very good. Very
Very good.
excited. So
Very
that
good.
that
Very
was
good.
the crazy part. I'm waiting for you to drop like a bombshell.
Oh, no, we went to get flu shots and that was it.
You got flu shots.
No, it was a crazy night because we had to go get flu shots at 7:30. So it was like my daughter was having a conniption. But
Okay.
we're all good. We're all well. We're moving on. How are you?
Does the flu still exist now that COVID's here?
I don't, who the hell knows? This is going to be a whole new world when it starts this year.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Well, how's your arm? Are you feeling good?
I didn't get it done. I was holding. I was the holder.
Oh, the holder of the children.
Yes, of the children.
Of
Yeah.
the children. She's the holder.
I'm the holder.
Today was a beautiful fall day, but like an extraordinarily beautiful day. And I'm not even saying that to be cheesy, but I caught myself at least 50 times just being so incredibly in awe of the colors of the trees, like the way the sun was hitting this giant tree in front of the house and it was lighting the walls up red. And it just kept going like, how freaking magnificent is this tree? How beautiful are the colors? Like just beautiful, just basking in the honest that is fall. I love it.
Were you smoking something?
No, and that's what I'm saying. I knew you would say something like that, so that's why I'm saying absolutely not. I'm not joking. It was just absolutely beautiful. I can't even describe it. The yellow leaves with the contrasting red and the green grass. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Although I'm very excited for November 1st because I feel like that's when I'm going to start decorating for Christmas this year. But I'm still being grateful for the rose gold pumpkin, but she'll be
Oh,
off the
man.
what?
You're going right to it, huh?
I I feel like the first might be a little early. I mean the first little snowflakes need to fall, but I'm definitely there.
Yeah.
I'm in the spirit of yeah. I blame Coca-Cola for that damn cute snowman that's imprinted in my brain. But there's something about Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever makes you happy.
Do you love Christmas? Do you love decorating for Christmas?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
remember Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like that would be me. I would be Chevy Chase. I would not be the wife. I would be Chevy Chase. I would be
Yeah.
like, how many light bulbs can one fit on a roof?
Oh, no. Do you put a bunch of light bulbs on the outside?
Okay. I love Christmas, but I have a little Christmas OCD. So everything has to match. So there is no blue, no blue I can do if I have to, but it has to be very color coordinated. So it's either this year it's all gold and red, or it's all white and red, or it's green and red and white, but it has
Yeah.
to be very
Theme.
symmetrical
Yeah.
and on point. Like there's no like pink and red and yellow and I can't.
I hear you.
I can't.
I agree. Yeah.
I can't. I just can't. So
Yeah.
I haven't figured out the theme for this year.
Okay.
Ooh, I did silver and pink one year with white. It was very beautiful.
That is pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's all
So
about goals, right?
on the empowerment goal,
That's empowering to me.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, empowering Christmas
I
and
empower all of you watching who are as obsessed with the holidays as I am to do you boo. Even if that's November 1st, you do you.
because the radio stations certainly do them. They just get into the Christmas so early, and it's
So 92.9 Vermont, Burlington, Vermont radio station we get here because they're just a hop, skip, and a jump away, and they actually start Christmas music on November 15th. Very, very appropriate. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Okay. But anyways, moving on.
Okay. So
Okay.
today, tell us.
I don't know. You made the plan, sister. You tell the world. What are we empowering the people with?
Well, first, we're going to talk about the differences between talk therapy and what we do.
Right.
What do we do for a living, and how do we help people? And then how do we help these three amazing women, minus one because she's very ill, and
Yeah,
I feel like I need to pour one out for my homie. And we don't know anything, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. But today is all about the difference between talk therapy and regular therapy, and what the differences are, and how, if you have tried talk therapy for 25 years, you are not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not lost. You are not, unhelpable. I can't think of words words aren't coming to me today.
I'm not sure, but I know one of the points that I wanted to drive home was, why coaches are so important. And a lot of people, say everybody and their mother's, a coach these days, but what is the importance of having a coach? What can a coach do for you? And the hypnotherapy.
Hey, I pass it on to you.
The hypnotherapy part of it, which is, great. RTTs in and out, like, we get to the root cause, boop, extract it and move on. But the coaching that comes with it, what is it? What's the difference between just talking to your friend and having a coach? What is a coach's responsibility? What ethically is our role? Combining that with RTT versus traditional therapy. And so I think that was the message we're driving home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Driving home, sister.
And so, I'm going to start off by saying, because the way that I read this when I was, going through my, I don't know how you say this in English, my roadmap, we'll say my roadmap of what did I want to do with the rest of my life, my existential crisis, what is my purpose? And I heard someone say, have you ever seen or heard of an athlete wanting to go to the Olympics and not training? Have you ever heard of someone, winning gold, silver, whatever it is, platinum? What's the third one? Bronze, platinum, and making it to the Olympic without having a coach, without having the proper training? And that really lit me up. And that's what a coach's job is. It's to help you train for whatever season of your life that you're in, whatever your next goal is, to extract the why out of you, to help you reignite that spark and that flame in whatever aspect of your life that you're in. There's business coaches, transformation coaches, success coaches. And it's really interesting to see how, because a lot of people say, why should I invest in myself? Coaches are expensive. I don't really need that. I could probably just read this book and that book. But to actually have someone work with you who is able to help you extract those feelings that you've suppressed for so long, or just ask the questions in a way that you haven't thought of, or you haven't heard it asked that way. It's so vital. Yeah.
Coaches start with let's take your example. So if you go and you read a book and you're like, okay, I want to be an Olympic athlete. I want to be let's start with something that I'm more familiar with. I want to be a professional basketball player, because I'm a professional basketball player, No.
She's a bala.
I am a bala. All right. So let's say you want to be a professional basketball player. You can go and read every single book about basketball. So you learn what basketball is. You learn, how to dribble the ball, how to run, how to do this, how to do that. But until you have somebody who has gotten to the end and has seen the entire journey, then knows what is basically walking in front of you. It's walking in front of you and saying, okay, come with me. I'm going to I'm going to take this road and then I'm going to pave it for you. And then I'm going to teach you what I learned, what I went through, and how not to go through the bad that I went through, and how to get the good out of each person. So each person that goes through a transformation is going to, you can read as many books as you want. You can listen to as many podcasts as you want.
And you can get really far doing that.
Yes.
And that's not the mission of the show, is to put that down, because that will serve you so well depending on where you are. It's sometimes the coach has a broader perspective. We have bias on ourselves because we judge ourselves, right? We're hypercritical of ourselves. We're hyper aware. And so we question a lot of things, and we don't necessarily have the full 360-degree view of how the way we show up affects and impacts other things around us. And so to have someone who has that broader perspective work with you and kind of be giving you, a 360-degree view of how it is that you can achieve your goals, but also what you're doing that's holding you back. That's that little nudge that sometimes we need. And that coach is working with you to help bring out the best in you, the best that already exists. Right? A coach isn't transforming you. We don't have magic wands and, we're going to change you. That's not at all our goal or our responsibility or our desire even. Everything that is within you, it's just to help bring it out to the surface and give you that confidence to step into it by kind of giving you a peek of, hey, this is how we see what's going on from up here, but you're kind of right in it. And so that's the beauty of this job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely seeing things from a different perspective, because when you're going through something, you're seeing it through the same eyes, right? So you're seeing it. It's exactly what you were saying. It's when you're seeing it and you're doing it, and you think that you're doing everything right because you're doing, what somebody told you or whatever, you kind of miss that blind spot that coaches see for you. And that we see, like, okay, I see that you're struggling here. And then we give you a tool to help you through it.
And every coach is different, right? Like every coach has a different style, and that's the beauty of it. And, our job is not to tell you anything. Our job is to ask questions. And if you have a really, really good coach who knows what they're doing, and, they're not driven by their ego or rushing through things with you, they ask questions and then they listen, and based on your answers are able to guide you to sometimes towards a path that you're not even sure how that's possible for you. You want that, but you're not quite sure how it's possible now, because you see yourself right now as you are stuck in the yuckiness, and you're unable to see what we see, that it's not that far away. And so by asking questions and you answering themselves, that gives you a little more power and momentum every session. And then you take that step, and then that's how it evolves. And that's what gives me goosebumps about this job.
You want to bring some peeps on?
Sure.
So we have amazing women, Rachel, Tina, and Erica, that are going through our 16-week total transformation package that we offer. And they are so kind to do it for all the viewers, to inspire everyone and to show that it is possible, even when they all thought it wasn't possible. How many things that they have found by digging within and realizing that they had it all along. And we wanted to bring them on to give everybody an update and to show everybody, where they started and how they're feeling now, and to show everyone and inspire everyone. And without further ado, but Tina is not feeling well. She is doing so amazing on this program. We'll bring her on another time. But unfortunately, right before this, we heard that she wasn't feeling well and she's on her way to the ER. So it breaks our heart that she's not here and that she's not feeling well, but we will keep you updated as we know more. So here is Rachel and Erica. Hello, ladies.
Uh,
You can't really see their names over here, but Erica is on the left and Rachel is on the right. Yeah, Erica is below Emma and Rachel is below me. So, ladies, thank you guys for doing this and for showing up for all of the viewers so that they can see how possible it is and hear your transformation. But if you don't mind, if you would tell us first, have you done traditional talk therapy? And what else have you done before you got to us as far as it is with like inner work and weight loss? Like where did your journey start before you met us? Erica, if you don't mind going first.
Sure. As far as the weight loss, I have tried everything you can imagine. Um, Literally everything. I've tried everything on the planet. Um, and it would work to a degree, and then it would backfire, and I would gain it all back, and then I would feel even worse about myself. And then I would gain more weight. And so it was really difficult to kind of, weed through all of the advice that people give. I mean, even doctors, my therapist, friends, family, online, everybody has different opinions of what you need to do. But most of these people have never dealt with the issues that I was dealing with at the time.
Yeah.
And so the advice was, first of all, something I've already tried, most likely. And second of all, a lot of times it was really harmful and it was hurting my progress with my inner work.
Yeah. And what did you do beforehand when it came to talk therapy? You said that you had a therapist, and how long were you going? And what do you see the difference in between having a coach and a therapist?
Yeah, I have done talk therapy before a lot, actually, at multiple points in my life.
Mm-hmm.
For me, talk therapy was almost like paying a friend because they don't want to impose what they're seeing or how to feel or necessarily tell you what to do. They want to encourage you to figure it out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't in a point when I was receiving talk therapy to be able to figure it out on my own. I didn't know what the problems were. I didn't know how to get to the problems, let alone how to solve them.
Did you leave the therapy session with an action plan?
Yeah, it was usually to behave better. It was usually ways to make other people more comfortable so that I wasn't getting into trouble, and I was not a troublemaker. I was a people pleaser. And so it was a lot more harmful for me to have made felt that I was doing something wrong because I was having emotions.
Had you ever heard of hypnotherapy for weight loss or considered it until you and I met?
No, I have heard about it for smoking and I considered it for that. But I honestly didn't think that I would be open to it mentally because, I'm trained in psychology and I know how some of this stuff works. So I thought I would be impervious to it. But the other kind of therapy that I did try that is a little bit similar in my experience is the EMDR, which is trauma therapy. And that did help a lot with a lot of the trauma issues that I was having. But what I found a difference with the hypnotherapy is that with the EMDR, you still have to know what the problem is in order to target it. And with the hypnotherapy, it really is opening up to let your body and your mind tell you where the issue is and what it is. And it doesn't take months or years of trauma therapy to see a big difference. It takes one session.
Yeah.
And I mean, like for me, obviously, like I've had a complicated history. And so, it kind of takes maybe a couple tries to figure out the different issues. But it wasn't really it wasn't really that it wasn't resolved the first time. It was just that
there's many layers.
I find a new layer of something. So it's a big difference.
And how do you feel about having coaches helping you instead of a traditional therapist?
I was actually nervous about this. We had a conversation before our first session. I don't know if you remember, but I was definitely asking about your credentials. I Googled it. I Googled you. I Googled the process. And it really, I mean, nothing showed that I should be skeptical. So it was really just will it work for me or not? And, I went into it a little skeptically, but after the first session, I was definitely a believer.
And that's a fair point. You have to be an advocate for yourself. So what you did was exactly the right thing.
Right. And I mean, it's scary, I think, for most people to think of going into this vulnerable spot and having someone you don't know, and you don't know the process. So you think like, are they going to tell me to do things? Am I going to remember later? Are they going to put thoughts in my head that aren't mine? Like it's a little scary, but and I've had sessions with both of you, and there wasn't any propulsion, like you guys weren't like pushing me in any kind of a direction. You were just kind of there to guide me if I needed it. You know what I mean? Like it's when you guys are doing a good job, I felt like my subconscious was doing the work, kind of a thing.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a coach, not a hypnotherapist, but had you ever worked with a coach before?
Not a coach. I have seen like a nutritionist before, but not a coach.
How does that help you every week to know that you kind of have an accountability partner as well, right? Like someone who
I think the accountability
is results, right? Like not in the way that like you need to drop and give me 50 every day, we need to see results, but that's holding you accountable to your goal.
Yeah, not our goals.
If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's figure out what the goal is. We're going to hold you accountable to that. How does that feel?
For me personally, it feels really good because when I start to slide or doubt myself, even if I'm not doing anything that I would consider like negative or bad or against my goals, if I start to doubt myself, it's usually over. It's like a slippery slope. And so to have someone to kind of reach out for you to like recenter with me, you know what I mean? Or, for me, that's very, very helpful for me because this has been a long process already with us. Like as far as my history for how long I've made it on different plans to try to change. And the thing is I've made mistakes and I've learned not to get off the path just because I make a mistake. And I think that's what the long road is going to look like. You know what I mean? Like you have to learn to come back to what you need.
Yeah. And that's so huge that you can get yourself back on, like we talk about the road trip, there's going to be pit stops where you fall off and because life is not just linear, like you can't just expect everything to be sunshine and roses and unicorns, like your things are going to hit you, and the strength that it takes to get back on and to stay on, comes from within. Like we don't want to be those people pushing you. And that's why it's so important how well you guys have done to keep yourselves going and keep yourselves in check. And then your accountability partners, are always here. So it's huge.
Yeah. And I think what you guys have brought to me that I haven't really experienced before is that I have grown up in a very therapeutic life and been taught to look at things a certain way and always put them in a positive light and, try to make everyone comfortable, kind of a thing. And I think a lot of people are brought up that way. And what I found most surprising is that I would be telling you guys about an experience. And I'll give an example. Like I have a family member that's very critical about my weight. And I said to Emma that I was constantly trying to explain to him why I am where I am and trying to justify my struggles. And, like I didn't make myself this way, like, and she explained to me that when I'm doing that, what my brain is hearing is I'm justified to be in this place and to stay here.
You remembered.
Yeah. I put it on my board. I wrote it on my board. And I had never thought of it that way. It's like I thought I needed permission to be the size I was, but really I needed permission to stop justifying myself and to move on to the path that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Cheers, cheers.
It's emotional.
Yeah,
And it's
that was a life. I mean, honestly, that was probably a life-changing statement that you gave me that day.
Oh, Emma.
but it's true because I've been there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I don't sell anything that I won't eat. You know, I used to say that when I had the bakeries, and it's true. Nothing was on the menu that I wouldn't eat myself. I don't care how popular or trendy of a flavor it was. If I couldn't sell it, if I couldn't eat it and I was repulsed by the thought of it, then I wasn't going to sell it. And it's the same thing with this.
Yeah.
You know, no advice that ever comes out of my mouth or ideas or concepts that I haven't either gone through and learned from or just researched and believe in, and you know, you're a test subject willingly, knowingly. But I would say that 99%, you know, of the stuff that's being taught in this program is because I've gone through it, and that was me justifying my existence.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel so good.
Well, Rachel, have you had talk therapy before?
Yeah, for years.
Yeah.
Years and years. Lots of
And
different
what did you
providers.
find? What did you say?
Lots of different providers.
Yeah. And what do you think the differences are between that and what we do?
So talk therapy, I find that they are actually making excuses for me.
Really?
That's, I was not expecting that, but that's, you know, I've been to talk therapy and that's my first thought. I'm just very surprised you said that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
when
Or helping you make excuses for the situation.
Definitely. And like, oh, well, you know, like life is hard. Like when I was a single mom, like you're a single mom, you can't really expect too much of yourself. And looking back, that kind of advice, that kind of, now words are escaping me. Thank you.
I know I did it to everyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So looking back, that's like, it's so unhelpful. Like,
Yeah.
okay, yes, I can be hyper critical of myself, but it was not like, okay, how do I move forward with goals? It's, you know, it's okay to not have to move forward right now. And it's just like, okay, I'm busy, but that doesn't mean I can't improve.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So having coaches, it's like really wanting to look into myself and like thinking like, okay, that's just an excuse. Like, you've got the same 24 hours that everybody else has, you know, like you can do these things, you can make these changes. It's, you make them little bits at a time. Like you can have the whole big picture, but you can also break it down into little parts, right? Like,
that makes so much sense because, and you know, that's the difference between saying, yeah, shit's really hard right now. I am a single mom. This is a rough patch, but also giving yourself the permission to dream and to sort of see yourself being able to move past that yucky situation or the situation that feels overwhelming instead of, you know, and that's the difference. And that's why we say, like, when something is hard or there's a situation that hurts, sit in it, feel the emotion, don't suppress it, but don't stay stuck in there. Keep that energy moving, because after every storm, a rainbow comes out eventually, right?
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's to give yourself permission. Yeah. Okay, right now I'm a single mom and it feels like the whole world is, you know, crumbling down around me, but I'm in control of every moment, and every moment I can still make them joyful or find something to be grateful for, still be proud of myself and want more out of life.
Yeah. And with talk therapy, it's very much like, you know, like you're in survival mode and you're okay to stay there. And it's, and now it's like, you know, like you have permission to dream. Like you're only holding yourself back. Like you can dream, you can plan, you can find these things that you once thought were impossible, and you can get there, right? Like,
yeah.
Does that fire you up?
Absolutely, yeah. Never once thought I'd be planning on skydiving with you, Emma, but we're going.
Yep.
Only 499 years to go, Rachel.
No. I wrote the date down because it's gonna
5
happen.
years.
It was July
I'm
something.
gonna be in my 40s. I'm sure they're not gonna sell me insurance to jump out of a plane over 40.
Nah, you can do it.
Okay.
So what do you think the difference is between the therapy that we actually did versus years of talk therapy? Did you find it more beneficial?
Yeah, so
Meeting the horse in the water.
talk therapy leaves me exhausted, does not
Really?
leave me hopeful, does not leave me with a plan or even the ability to plan the future or the day or the week, right? Like,
Yeah.
and this is like yeah, we can do that. We can I sorry, not we. I mean, you're helping, but I can do that. I can make those choices. I can make those decisions. I'm in control of my life. I've got the freedom to choose, baby.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about the things that you needed to let go in order to feel this way? Do you feel that that could have happened in talk therapy? Do you feel like you found things that you let go through this program?
Yeah, that couldn't have happened in talk therapy. You know, letting go of the shame, letting go of the feelings of guilt and the feelings of being a pain in the ass to everybody else, right? Like, I'm a person, and I am worthy of attention. I'm worthy of effort. I'm worthy of, I don't know what else the other word I was thinking of, but I'm worthy of that.
I'm happy. Yeah.
You are, girl. I love it.
And I love what Erica said about, and it's so true, because you're both saying the same thing, is that you're almost paying a friend to listen to your bullshit and then give you permission to feel that way. And I remember that too, going through some really crappy times and leaving there going, well, that cost $160. That was an hour. I still don't know what to do. And it was like accumulating things throughout the week. Oh, I got to tell her that. Oh, I'm going to tell her this. Oh, well, don't you? Yeah, because it's almost that validation.
Yeah.
You always get that validation that you're right in your feelings for being pissed off at the world and feeling stuck, you know? And I remember that realization of being exactly that. Like, I'm paying this person to validate my bullshit, but she's not seeing the whole side of the story either.
Yeah.
And so I can tell her whatever I want, make the whole thing, make me look like the good guy in every situation.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not seeing how they're not helping you unpack how you're showing up in every aspect of your life.
But the main thing is they don't unpack the root cause. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know your root cause, you can talk and talk and talk, and you never get to what your subconscious mind is really like the problem, because you don't even know what the problem is until
if you're being a douche canoe in life and you're going to your therapist and you're telling everyone that.
I'm sorry, what?
If you're being a douche canoe.
I know, I love the word. I just have to hear it more.
To everyone in life, and you go to your therapist and you just tell everyone that everyone's against you and this happened and that happened. That's just having someone help you, guide you to being a better version of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Right. But when you're under hypnosis, your subconscious mind is telling you what you need to know, because that's what's holding you back in life.
When you're coming in for the limiting belief. Yeah.
And it's so important that you uncover the root, or you're going to keep spinning your wheels in the same patterns that you always have.
And it's important to highlight what you said, Erica, because there are many layers, right? So coming in for weight loss, that particular session, I'll be finding, the root cause of why you're holding on to the weight, or where the lack of motivation to exercise is, where the procrastination is coming from. But then there's other underlying issues, as we know, because in one issue, finding the root cause of why we're holding on to the weight, especially if there's childhood trauma, which in most cases there are, some kind of abuse, you unpack that in one session. And then there could be also anxiety going on with that person. That's another session, because that's another limiting belief. But that's what's beautiful about it, is that within an hour and a half to 2 hours, you can go and pluck them out very quickly and start the healing process.
Yeah. And also, I felt like the sessions that I've had, they were very deep, dark, just really getting in there. And when I was done, I didn't feel like I was just being left alone for until next week. It was like I actually got closed up, like I got the support from within, I got the support from you guys, and I wasn't just left with this gaping hole that we just dug out in an hour.
No, we stitch you guys up.
Yeah.
Stitch you guys up. Yeah. It scars nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put some ointment on, you're all good.
That's so true. It is true.
Yeah. And in our program, the main thing that, Emma and I did when we created it is that there are so many layers, like you were saying, that it's so important. And even, like you can have the weight, you start with weight, that's why you come to us, because I want to lose weight. I've struggled with weight my whole life. But there's so many underlying issues that lead to that weight. And that's why we always say weight is a byproduct, weight loss is a byproduct of the healing internally. And the reason we made it that way throughout, so that you get all these different therapy sessions throughout, is because throughout the cycle of weight loss and total transformation, different things need to be healed at different times, especially the command cell therapy, command cell therapy. Did I say that right? I'm losing it. So CCT, where a lot of times when you have weight to let go and you're trying to exercise and you're trying to, be the best version of you, then you get physical problems at times, because you're letting go and energy is moving in different directions and whatever, so you got to heal that too. And you guys got to experience that, and you had some luck with that too, right? Either one of you want to talk about the CCT?
Yeah, I had started walking regularly every single day. I was on my 3rd week, and I was feeling really good. I was really proud of myself. I wasn't having the low back pain that I was experiencing prior when walking. And then all of a sudden one day I started getting this horrible leg pain. It just went from my ankle all the way up to my knee, and it felt like something was seriously going to be wrong if I kept walking. And so then the dread kind of built. And
you start with the here we go again. Now I'm done. I can't lose any more weight.
What am I going to do now? Yeah. And then the anxiety made it worse. And then, other things started falling offline too. It's like it's a chain reaction sometimes when you don't know how to stop and reassess, you know what I mean? So I did do the command cell therapy on that, and I have not actually had any knee pain since I started walking again. And and I've also been using it for anxiety. I've had a couple of big events going lately in my life, and so I tend to get a little bit of performance anxiety for those, and they were big deals. And so I actually did that the night before, and
awesome.
I did not have any anxiety for at least 2 of the things that I tried it on. So
that's awesome.
Have you ever felt like you feel now, or do you feel like you're stepping into who you've always known?
That's exactly how I feel. Like I have always lived to be what I thought people would like me for.
Ooh.
And it wasn't because I was shallow or trying to manipulate them. It was because I didn't think that I would get love if I wasn't something that they needed, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that's really something from one of the sessions that we went over, and it's ever since then it's not just that I feel worthy, it's that I feel like I have my back and I love myself. And those who don't, I'm going to be okay if they leave. And I've never felt that way before.
You sound strong.
I feel strong. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Rachel, how about you with CCT?
So I have not had quite the success that Erica has had. And maybe it's just that I'm not focusing on those things that don't hurt. When we were doing it the first night, it was my lower back that felt better. And actually, if I have to go back and look at it, like my lower back has been doing much better. It used to seize up within minutes of standing, just standing, not walking or moving or anything, but standing. And it doesn't do that now. So yeah, I guess
that's
a win.
Amazing. Yeah.
She's like, I couldn't even walk before, and now I can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And are you using it sometimes on your own for different issues before you go to bed at night?
Yeah, so I actually fall asleep with it.
That's
Me
okay.
too.
Set the intention before.
Yeah, so is that...
That's how it works. So just set the intention of tonight, even if I fall asleep, I'm working on my right knee. Whatever's, clogging up my right knee or my left knee or my hand or whatever it is that you want to work on, even if it's emotional, a really heavy emotional day that, you're just going to restore and reactivate and sort of let it all clear up, all of the negative emotions.
You know what? I never thought of trying, like for anxiety, like Erica, or emotions, or I haven't thought of trying that. My focus has always been on a physical thing, right? Like my knee or my feet or my back or my...
Just set the intention like an affirmation.
Okay.
As I fall asleep listening to Command Self-Therapy, I will receive everything that I need to and benefit from this healing, and I'm focusing and setting the intention on my lower back or on my period cramps this week or whatever it is that's going on for you. And as you fall asleep, your subconscious mind knows exactly what to do. It's still activated.
Okay.
Yeah. And see how you feel in the morning and keep track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
How do you guys feel about the self-love? Do you feel... What are you giggling at, Emma?
Just happy.
Okay.
Beautiful trees.
How do you feel about the self-love from the coaching of, where you started to, and Erica, I think that was a great testament of what you just said. You never felt that way before. Rachel, how do you feel? Have you been hugging yourself on a daily basis?
Have I been hugging myself?
No?
Oh my God, I had to do that yesterday. Okay, guys. I had to do that. So do you remember Nicole? I have to tell a story. Do you remember Nicole that came on as a guest who was doing the energy healing?
Oh, yeah.
The day we talked about CCT. So my birthday gift from Kelly was a session with Nicole. And so it was very interesting. So whoever's listening who's into this kind of like Bugazini stuff, healing of past lives, very cool. But at the end of the session, and Nicole, I love you if you're watching, this was great. But I did have a moment of, I'm going to do this because I have to. But I had to hug myself. And I was very skeptical, and I loved it. I was like, I don't want to let her go.
Why were you skeptical of hugging yourself?
And listen, I don't know. I was just like, you go, girl. Like, I love myself. I know that. Now I'm, but I thought, okay, I have to hug myself because that was sealing it in. And I never really stopped and hugged. Never stopped and hugged myself, and I really loved it. So I hugged myself again today. I was like, this is really comforting. When there's no one around to hug you, it was great. So that was my little moment of, I kind of had one eye open at the end, and I was like, okay, is she looking? I better do it anyways in case she's recording. But it was great. I think you told me you do that. That was part of,
Me? Yeah, I do a butterfly hug for, I used to do it for the trauma therapy. Just, if you have anxiety, just tap. It's like a binaural stimulation. So, yeah.
No, I full on hugged myself. I was like, I was making love to myself. I was like, oh yeah, she's good. Yeah. Yeah, very good.
Okay. So we're loving ourselves. So Rachel, are you loving yourself?
So I'm not physically hugging myself, but the appreciation for myself has increased tenfold.
Okay, so are you putting yourself and your self-care in the equation of life when you're taking care of everyone else?
Not always at the very top, but before it didn't even make the list. Right?
Okay.
I'll do that when I have
very
time.
good.
That's the joke, right? I'll do that when I have time. you know,
Mhm.
and
Are
just
you
making
at a
time for
point?
even a couple of minutes here and there, right? Like,
Are you
Mhm.
at a point where if you don't do something for yourself either every day or every couple days, now that you think about it, you're aware of it and you miss it and you're kind of like, hey, I need some time for me?
you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like going for a massage or a
No.
manicure or pedicure, like just taking a
Not
couple
the
of
cost
minutes to read a
anything.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
take a bath and watch TikTok videos, like whatever it is for you in that day.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like whatever it
Yep.
is in that moment. Someday we'll feel like doing the whole face mask and like the clay thing and getting all dirty. And some days you don't want to scrub out the bath and you're just like, I'm going to go on the pooper for an extra 10 minutes, light a candle and watch a couple TikToks. But you're in that moment, you're mindful that this time is for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do you guys
What
feel
do you do
about
for self-care, Kelly?
what do I do?
I share stuff about my life all the time. What do you do for self-care?
I meditate.
Every day?
Not every day.
What else do you do?
I always work out. That's my time. That's 100% like that has to happen or you're gonna get not a nice Kelly. Don't you smile. I know why you're smiling, Emma, because she's like, oh, I get the not nice Kelly all the time.
That's such a mean thing to say, and I'm going to send that back to you because that's your perception.
Okay.
I always get authentic Kelly.
There you go.
There you go.
Um,
What else? But that's key. Do you work out every day?
Not every day. I try and get 5 days in.
Wonderful.
But yeah, my self-care is usually being aware that I need time and it changes every day. Like sometimes I'll be like, oof, I gotta go meditate like you guys, you know, or like I'm just like I feel too much energy. So I'm like, I gotta go get this out, you know. So sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's physical, like sometimes whatever it is, like I am just aware that I need to take some time. And then I go do that. But it's very important.
Did you say you have? Sorry, did you say you have too much energy?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get on that side of the scale.
You're gonna get there.
Yes, but sometimes it's the anxious energy.
It's not
the good energy that like I want to go run a marathon. It's like
it's the energy of having 12 hours of work back to 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 back, and then having to fit yourself in, and you're just kind of like convulsing with and that's when you're like you need.
I thought you meant like the productive energy.
No,
it's from being overproductive. It's from the big productivity.
Yeah.
And then you're hungover for a couple of days and you're just crabby. It's learning to maintain that. I go deep into that. So you should watch those videos about binge productivity, where you have a day that you wake up and you're just flying high and bang, 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 bang. On those days, I'll go to bed at 1:30 in the morning. I'm unstoppable. And then the next day, you're scraping me off the floor with a spatula, you know? So it's how do you maintain that level? Yeah.
Very much balanced.
Yeah.
So how are you guys with awareness when it comes to food now? Because I know we're running up against time, but you know, weight loss, everyone thinks of dieting and, you know, exercising. You have to cut calories and you have to work out more. That's what everyone thinks when it comes to dieting. But Emma and I have tried to make a conscious effort for you guys to realize that it's all within you. And, you know, so what have you learned about being conscious, mindful eating, being aware? You know, what have you learned in that aspect? I want to start with Rachel this time.
Okay, so using food as energy.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
You feel in your body.
Choices around that, right? Like, is this chocolate bar going to give me energy? Yeah, for 3 minutes. And then I'm going to feel crappy afterwards. That's not to say I can't have a piece of chocolate every now and then. Like, I'm not about restricting things that I enjoy, right? Like, life is not all about carrot sticks and celery. But you know, like just making the better choices. And it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing.
Right. That's awesome.
What I've tried before and I've crashed hard.
Right.
Because that's not sustainable for life.
It's not.
Yeah.
Erica, will you please tell the story of your starting off as calorie counting and then what happened when you know the story?
Yeah. So when I started this program, I was going to continue to do the calorie counting, and I was going to focus on the macros and basically do what I had been taught to do. And that's, if I don't do well enough this week, I'm going to cut myself down the next week. And basically, I was miserable and I didn't know what I was doing. And when you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you should be doing, you blame yourself. Yeah. And I think that was a lot of resistance to come out of my comfort zone and to trust the process.
Because we wanted you to take control back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think I'm still learning about the hunger cues. I honestly, like last week and the week before, we talked about how I had not been making the best decisions for whatever reasons they were. But this week I slid back into the good habits so easily. I was still exhausted. So instead of trying to make all of this meal prep stuff, I got things that were already cooked from Costco and I'm just portioning them out as I need them. And I think that's part of the thing is like, do something that works for you and doesn't like, it's not just about not villainizing certain foods, but don't villainize yourself for eating certain foods.
No, and your hunger cues, what's so important for, anyone who's watching and listening is that if you had gained the weight over 2 weeks, then it would be fair to say that within 2 weeks, you'll be healed, you'll be cured, you'll be back on track. But when this is a lifetime of layers, your hunger cues, you need to work with that. You need to listen to your body. It's going to be different at different periods of the month, as our hormones change, as our environment changes, levels of stress at work, all of those hunger cues, it's going to take time for you to tune in to that and get 100% comfortable. So that's to be gentle. And that's also pressure of the weight and learning to unlearn is that it takes time. But the beauty of it and the stamp of approval is that you're able to slide back into it because you're not on a diet. You've ditched the diet mentality. You're learning to fuel your body. You're fueling your body. And if you stick to the 80-20 rule, you can't fall off of anything unless you fall off your why. Unless you fall off the reason that you're doing this. You fall off the self-love and self-care wagon. And you get to a point where something just breaks you down and all of those mechanisms, then you can't fall off of anything.
Yep. And that's the goal, is to set you guys up so that no matter what life throws at you and no matter what situation you're in, you guys are on to where your goal is and where you want to be. Nothing can stop you. And that's...
Yeah. Do you guys feel unstoppable?
Honestly, the last 2 weeks, I had a little bit of doubt that I was falling back, even though I knew logically that I wasn't. But I phased back so easily this week into...
It's the bounce back game.
Yeah, the bounce back game is strong. And I think I needed to prove it to myself without forcing it just happened on its own. I didn't have to, hyper plan or worry or guilt myself. I just went back to it.
Rachel, do you think that you're going to hit your goals, whether it's within the 16 weeks or eventually? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like you have the tools and the mentality that you can do it?
Yeah. So maybe not 16 weeks. Still possible. We're not at the end yet, but definitely headed in the right direction. Definitely.
Good. Yeah. She's high-fiving you.
High five. Yeah, it's true.
I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well,
ladies, but it's about having the tools in place. But just one thing as you go, remember that in those moments of doubt, just quiet your mind, recenter, like you said, and in your heart, you'll always know that this work is never going away. You'll always know what's right for you if you just clear out all of the noise, sit with yourself for a hot second, and remind yourself of your why.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so
Ladies,
much for being here.
you're awesome. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Too.
Bye.